Get down.
All rise. This court is now in session. Honorable Judge Bianca Boldistiano presiding. Anyone having business before the Superior Court of Justice for the Province of Ontario and come now forward, attend upon Her Majesty the Queen. Thank you. You may sit.
We are here today to put meat consumption on trial. Here's the defendant. The defendant is charged with 1 count of murder and animal abuse, 1 count of environmental negligence and misallocation of resources, 1 count of human health endangerment. How do you plead?
Not guilty!
Very well. Will the prosecution offer its opening remarks?
Thank you, Your Honor. The prosecution's purpose here today is to put meat consumption and the animal cruelty practices found in the agri-farming industry on trial. In the modern world, the majority of animal products and meat comes from cruel factory farms. In the last year, 250,000 metric tons of meat was consumed, and each year this number increases. Factory farming is a practice where animals live in confinement and high density. The practice is a result of a desire to create the largest amount of meat and animal products with the lowest cost. Factory farming has contributed to the outbreak of several notorious diseases, such as swine flu, mad cow disease, and listeria. Factory farming involves the use of techniques that are controversial and unethical in many respects, such as gestation crates, which are crates used to in-house a living being, a pig, into a confined space in which they can't move at all for the majority of their life. In addition, there's debeaking, which is cutting off the beak of chickens, and electronic shock administration, in which animals are forced to be put back into their quarters when they step out of line. Meat consumption is not necessary for human life, as there are alternative supplements that can provide the same nutrients, and you don't have to kill animals. Many studies have shown that a meat-based diet is less healthy than an alternative diet that doesn't include these sources. Demand for meat in society that is the culprit here, and this can be changed if the practices of animal cruelty and factory farming are abolished. Meat eating needs to be condemned.
Go.
Unless your meat is from organic farms, you cannot expect anything but that it is from farms in which the animals are put in painful situations. In enclosed spaces, animals cannot do what is natural to them. Great for the judge and the jury that meat consumption should be condemned. Do I start?
Yeah, go for it.
I reiterate for the court that meat and animal product consumption should be condemned.
Thank you. The defense may now offer its opening remarks.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I come to you today to defend what constitutes now and forever a key part of the human lifestyle, diet, and culture. The charges laid against my client, who is currently languishing in prison, are both ludicrous and frivolous in nature. And while responding to these absurd allegations may seem like a waste of not only my client's time, but the time of the whole court, the consumption of meat merits defense. Since the inception of our species, Homo sapiens, since the development of our opposable thumbs, have been omnivorous creatures. While the defense allows that some of these functions have become dated and unnecessary with the advent of technology, the defense holds that the ingestion of meat continues to sustain humanity in several ways, all of which refute these absurd claims laid down by the prosecution. Throughout history, the myriad uses for animal consumption have, among other things, included textiles, manufacturing, agriculture, and of course dietary consumption. These have been crucial to human development. While the defense allows that some of these functions have become dated and unnecessary as the advent of technology has allowed us to proceed, The defense holds that the ingestion of meat has and will always continue to sustain humanity for reasons that will refute all of these ridiculous allegations by the prosecution. Firstly, let the record show that murder is defined as the killing, premeditated, of one human being by another human being. Animals have nothing to do with murder. The only legitimacy that the concept of meat as murder has is that meat is by definition dead animals. Again, nothing to do with murder. Attaching such a libelous title, abuse, intended harm, a title that is shared by such amoral people as dogfighter Michael Vick, to regular human beings like myself, it's slanderous. The animals that are farmed are resources used for the purpose of industry and ultimately human sustenance. Viewing these animals in any other way, projecting human emotions onto them, anthropomorphizing them, is willfully ignorant to the fact that they're being raised for our consumption. Refreshing. Finally, cognizant that animals are living beings, the court would do well to remember that this court and trial are taking place in a reality where humans are at the top of the food chain, with an industry that has needs. To conclude these opening remarks, the defense maintains that the consumption of meat is not only an individual right, but a necessary part of the human diet, and an issue where ethics can't, shouldn't, and will not be concerned. People have the right to enjoy their meat and meat-based products, and I plan on doing just that. The offense rests. Keep eating it? What? Oh God.
Would the prosecution like to call upon its first witness to the stand?
The prosecution would like to call up to the stand Sunflower May.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God?
I do.
Please state your name.
My name is Sunflower May.
Can you please state your occupation?
I am a PETA representative, so I go around and promote the ethical treatment of animals.
What is PETA's position on meat consumption?
From an ethical standpoint, PETA strongly abhors the consumption of meat as it results in the unnecessary sufferings and deaths of many animals.
Are you a vegetarian?
I've been a vegetarian for 10 years. I love veggie dogs.
Why did you become a vegetarian?
Well, in grade 6, we had a field trip to the slaughterhouse, and after what I had seen, I couldn't stand eating meat or even being around dead animals anymore. In fact, many people become vegetarian and vegan after reading about or experiencing what goes on daily at a slaughterhouse. There are daily processes of forced confinement, manipulation, and violent death. In fact, people who come into contact with slaughterhouses cannot help but be affected by what they see and hear. People who work in slaughterhouses usually are not on the job for long because of what they see. In fact, did you know that people who work in slaughterhouse jobs have the highest turnover rate of any job in the US? It also has the highest rate of on-the-job injury.
Can you please describe for the defense and the jury some unethical practices at factory farms?
Yes, PETA workers have gone undercover and documented these terrible things that happen inside slaughterhouses.
The prosecution would like to bring to the trial our first piece of evidence, Exhibit A, a video from PETA documenting the unethical treatment of animals in factory farms.
That was horrible.
Order! Please compose yourself at once in my courtroom.
What did you do in your life before you were a PETA activist?
Well, I used to work for the US Department of Agriculture.
Why did you quit this job?
Well, I couldn't in good conscience keep on working for an organization that lies to its consumers and people. Did you know that even though all meat that is sold in store proclaims itself to be inspected by the US Department of Agriculture, only 1 out of approximately 250,000 slaughtered animals is actually tested for toxic waste and pesticides? Isn't that ridiculous?
Any other statistics? But what about breast milk? I've heard a lot of bad things about breast milk.
Did you know that 99% of US mothers' milk who eat meat contains significant levels of DDT? In stark contrast, Only 8% of U.S. vegetarians' mothers' milk contains significant levels of DDT. This clearly shows that the primary source of DDT is the meat ingested by the mothers. Contamination of breast milk due to chlorinated hydrocarbon pesticides in animal products found in meat-eating mothers versus non-meat-eating mothers is 35 times higher. And also, the amount of permissible dieldrin, which is another pesticide, ingested by the average breastfed American infant is 9 times the permissible level.
And where did you work before you worked for the U.S. Department of Agriculture?
I worked at the U.S. Department of Energy.